Check. I ask you to stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's town board meeting. It is Tuesday, January 9th, 2018. First item on our agenda this evening is public hearing. And I'll ask the town clerk to read the notice.
Notice of public hearing. Notice hereby given that the town board of the town of Mount Pleasant, Westchester County, New York, will meet at the townhouse in Valhalla, New York, in said town on January 9th, 2018 at 8:00 p.m. prevailing time, for the purpose of conducting a public hearing on whether it is in the public interest to increase and improve the facilities of the town's Kensico Water District, consisting of certain construction administration services to be charged to the Kensico Water District in connection with the construction at the expense of the City of New York ultraviolet light drinking water treatment facility for the Kensico Water District. Such services having an estimated maximum cost of $1,711,540, an increase of $181,000 over the amount previously authorized. The construction of a water main at Legion Drive at a maximum estimated cost of $1,265,000, an increase of $85,000 over the amount previously authorized, and the replacement of water meters in the district at a maximum estimated cost of $2,528,678, an increase of $500,000 over the amount previously authorized, so that the total increase to the estimated cost of the aforesaid increases improvements of the facilities of the Kensico Water District is $766,000. The increased cost of such increases and improvements would be charged to the Kensico Water District. The aforesaid design and preliminary engineering work has been determined to be a Type 2 action pursuant to the regulations of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, promulgated pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, the implementation of which, as proposed, the town board has determined will not result in any significant environmental effects. At said public hearing, at said town board will hear all persons interested in the subject matter thereof. By order of the town board, town of Mount Pleasant, Westchester County, Patricia June Scova, town clerk.
Thank you. Anyone wants to speak on this or have any questions in regards to this?
Ken Noonan, Valhalla. First thing is, you don't say why these amounts are being increased. There's no information about that. Can you tell us?
The town engineer has a breakdown of what is involved with the additional costs, and he'll be happy to provide that to you if you want the total breakdown. We had to get him to give us the total cost involved, the additional amounts to the bonds that were already issued. We have to rely on our town engineer to come up with the numbers. These are not just numbers that he pulls out of the sky. He has to break down everything. Bond counsel requires an itemized list of things that are, why are you raising the bond amounts? That's so he has to produce all that information for bond counsel. They will not approve it just coming up with a number.
Well, why can't we know what those figures are and what the reasons are? You're having this is a public hearing, and the public doesn't know anything about all the backup on this thing. Why can't we know that?
Well, I can get the town engineer to give you a copy of his breakdown.
But the hearing is tonight.
So if we told you that a motor had to be replaced, would that change your mind about this, or what? I don't understand. Do we not trust our engineer to come up with the right numbers?
Not a question of trusting the engineer or not trusting the engineer. I just think that to have a public hearing and for the public not to have this information, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Well, the town board was comfortable with the information that the town engineer discussed with us. We had a meeting on this. numerous times, not only during the daytime, but at a work session, discussing the reasons for the additional amounts. This has been going on for a couple of months.
Well, that's very nice, but then why have a public hearing? If you've made up your mind already, what's the public meeting for? It's
Well, it is also our responsibility as elected officials to make these decisions in the best interest of the community. So we don't just think lightly about approving these things unless there's a good reason for it.
I'm not questioning that at all. I just
It does
think,
seem that way.
no,
Go
I'm
ahead.
not. I'm not questioning that. I just think that the public should have access to that information before you have a public hearing. Otherwise, a public hearing doesn't make any sense at all.
Mr. Supervisor, is this considered emergency work?
No, it's just three different items involved here. The Legion Drive Bridge, the ultraviolet plant, and the water meter replacement project. There was, unfortunately, things changed, requirements changed with the UV plant, additional requirements, additional equipment that was not originally anticipated. Obviously, we know about the Legion Drive Bridge, the additional costs that were involved over there. And then also involved with the Legion Drive Bridge was work on South Kensico, emergency work that was, that bonding money was used towards that because it was part of that project.
I mean, on that point, and I mentioned this last time, that's lumped together. The water main and the South Kensico work is lumped together in one figure here. So I asked if we could have a breakdown of what was what expenses were for the water main and what expenses were for the Kensico
Excuse me, Mr.
project.
Supervisor, Mr. Noonan has submitted a FOIL request as of, I believe you were in Tuesday,
That's correct.
Monday rather?
Monday. Yeah.
Monday. You were in Monday and you submitted a FOIL request, which will give you the information you asked for on the $85,000 increase with that bond.
Well, I wanted that plus a breakdown of the 12.
Well, you didn't ask for that.
Oh, I did. I
You
asked
did
for-
on that FOIL?
Yeah. No, I did. But that's another thing, you know, I came up, on your recommendation, I came up and I asked, I went to the engineering department. Mr. Smith was not there, so Susan took care of me, took my information, and in a day or so, I had a call from her, and she told me that Mr. Smith said I had to fill out a FOIL request. So that means I have to schlep up here again, take time out of my work to fill out a FOIL. Why can't the public just get this information? It's germane to the topic of this hearing. Why can't we just get that in advance? Why
Well,
do
you're
we?
the only person in the town of Mount Pleasant who has asked for it. I guess most people believe that they think that we're going to do the right thing here.
You're being very defensive about this. I'm not accusing you of doing the wrong thing. I'm saying it should be available to the public. The information should be open, transparent, and available, easily available
So
to
you're
the
saying
public.
that we're not being transparent? That's what you're saying.
I don't think you're being very transparent if you don't have it.
Okay, that's your opinion. Do you have another question?
I do. I do. I will, I'll do it at another time. I'll do it another time.
Thank
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address the board?
Laura Senti, Valhalla. I just have a question with the water main on Legion Drive. Several months ago, when there was discussion of the fact that we had to increase the cost on that, there was, the board or somebody was going to be looking into whether we could recoup any of that additional expense from the engineering company or the contracting company. Have we done that, and do we have?
We did speak to the engineer. We told him that we were uncomfortable with the fact that all of a sudden we're hit with this additional thing. His excuse was that the requirements, DOT requirements had changed as far as the distance for the guardrail and the main. So it had to be re-engineered. He did say that going forward, he would work with us on other engineering projects to try to help us offset some of these costs.
But if it was a DOT change, why isn't the DOT eating some of that cost?
That's not They don't do
The way it
that.
works.
It's not their responsibility because
But if they approved one set of plans and we went ahead based on those plans and the outside engineer took care of, did the plans based on
there
that.
was about a year in between that these things changed. So it wasn't like a month after we filed the report, then we found the change. It was a long period of time from the time we originally estimated the job and bidded the job, and then finally went into construction. It was over a year. So things change, requirements change.
And it was a requirement change from the DOT, basically?
That's my understanding from the engineer, yeah.
And when you say the engineer is going to work with us on other projects, is there a reason why he wouldn't do some type of credit on this project rather than work on other projects with
No,
us?
that was his answer, that he would work with us on future projects. There is other projects he's going to be working with us on, and our hope is that he will treat us properly. We don't have real recourse because things did change, so it wasn't like he was just making up numbers. He had to submit all new plans to change the rail design and all. So it wasn't like he didn't do anything, he just came up with a number. It was a legitimate change. Do we like it? No, we don't. We don't have much of a choice. We had to make it to meet standards.
Okay.
We tried to see if there was ways to get around it, but there wasn't.
All right, thanks very much.
You're welcome. Be there no further speakers, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Smalley,
Second.
second by Ms. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion closed, hearing closed. Resolution 31, increasing the amount of the existing bonds to cover the work.
Are you looking for a motion?
Motion.
You're looking for a motion?
Yes.
So moved. Increase the amount of the bond to cover the existing work.
Motion by Ms. Smalley,
Second.
second by Mr. DiPaolo. All in favor?
Aye.
Excuse me, any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving on to the supervisor's report, the adoption of the employee handbook. Our employee handbook dates back to the 70s, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Before my time.
We hired a HR company. They've been working on this for the past year, almost a year. Bringing up to code all the legal wording and all that for the employee handbook. Each employee will be emailed a copy or printed a copy if they need a copy. Each department head will receive a printed copy to keep as far as any updates. There'll be a binder, any updates that happen over the years. They can update the employee handbook. This resolution will approve the adoption of the new employee handbook so we can proceed with the copies and the distribution.
Just one question. My understanding is that after every department head receives their copy, every employee will have to sign off that they've actually read it. Is that
Yes,
correct?
Yes.
Very good.
There'll be I think the last page of the handbook, there's a sheet where you have to
Yes, there is.
sign off that you read it and approve it.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Motion by Mrs. Saliano,
Second.
second by Ms. Smalley. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is authorization to solicit bids for the South Kensico water main. This is an item that was bonded last year. We're now ready to move ahead on getting bids for that project. I'll read the engineer's report on this. Authorization is requested to solicit bids. Proposals on bids for the replacement of approximately 700 feet of 8-inch pipe with new 12-inch ductile iron mains, 50 feet of new 6-inch water main pipe, 2 hydrants, and several new valves. The estimated cost to complete this work is approximately $424,000. This project is to be funded out of the bonding that was issued last year. The water main is scheduled to be replaced due to the deteriorated condition of the existing pipe and the complexity associated with its depth, as some sections installed in excess of 12 feet below the surface. This project will prevent, unlike the likely future costly repairs, should the existing water main replace in service. Included in this estimate is an option for an additional 400 lineal feet of water main replacement should bids return under the conservative estimate. Then the town will have the option to award additional replacement of the existing main. If the approval is granted at tonight's meeting, then the project plans and specifications will be made available to contractors on Wednesday, January 17th. The bid opening is scheduled to occur on Wednesday, February 7th, 2018.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Mr. DiPaolo,
Second.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the approval to hire Maureen Doyle, temporary provisional, as an office assistant at the Office of Elder Americans at a Group 6, Step 1, at an annual salary of $49,011, effective January 10th, 2018.
I think that should just be provisional, because she has to take the test, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
She already took part of the test.
Right.
Yeah, the typing test is over. So I would like to move for approval.
Motion by Ms. Smalley,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 4, 5, 6, and 7 is approval of bonding for equipment. We've discussed over the years the need to replace equipment and vehicles in the town of Mount Pleasant. For many years, it's been put off. We've replaced some here and there. I'm just going to give you a list of all the equipment that we're bonding. Some of the items, because of their expected lifespan, the bonding is for a shorter period of time. Others are extended to a longer period of time. In the highway, we have 3 F-550 plow sander trucks. Expected lifespan is 15 years. Total cost is $110,000 each. We have 1 5-ton blacktop roller. Expected 15-year life service. That's $65,000 piece of equipment. 1 10-wheel plow sander truck. Expected life 15 years of service, $200,000. 1 6-wheel plow sander truck. 15-year service life, $185,000. 2 Ford Explorer, 15-year service life, $28,000. 1 Ford F-350 pickup plow truck, 15-year service life, $35,000. 1 F-450 extended cab with service truck body and liftgate, 20-year service life, $70,000. John Deere 60G excavator with a trailer, 20-year service life, total is $106,000. For our water department, 2 Ford Transit T150 vans with shelving, a 15-year service life, $26,500 each, total of $53,000. 1 F250 pickup with rear liftgate, 15-year service life, $30,000. 1 hydro excavator with a 15-year service life, $410,000. 1 John Deere 410L backhoe, 20-year service life, $145,000. Police Department, 6 Ford Explorers. 2 will have extended service life of 10 plus years. 4 will be short service life of 5 years as patrol cars with a cost of $45,000 each, all with the patrol equipment installed and ready for road, total $270,000. Building Department, 1 Ford Explorer, 15-year service life, $28,000. Recreation Department, 2 senior vans with a 15-year service life, $75,000 each, total $150,000. 1 F-350 pickup truck with plow and liftgate, 15-year service life, $45,000. 1 John Deere 310L backhoe, 20-year service life, $105,000. And 1 60-inch power rake, 15-year service life, total of $8,000. So like I said, each one of these approvals relates to certain vehicles that have certain lifespan. The first one is approval of equipment bonding for replacement of passenger vehicles, total of $326,000. This is for passenger seating, vehicle seating less than 10 persons. These are basically passenger vehicles. And the bonding will not exceed 5 years.
Make a motion for approval, please.
Thank you. Mr. Saliano?
Just a quick question, Mr. Supervisor. The one, what you just listed earlier, all the vehicles and the amounts, are those all under these 4 items or just some of them?
They're spread amongst these 4. There's a breakdown in the bonding
Right.
because, like I said, some of them have an extended life, some of them have a short life. Some of them can only be bonded for a shorter period of time. Police vehicles is only like,
I guess I'm having a hard time following the totals here.
Yeah,
The totals aren't adding up to what you stated. Like, for instance,
well, maybe it could be one from one department, one from another department. It's not just highway on one, water department on another.
right, is the approval for all the vehicles you mentioned?
No,
No.
they're broken down in each, in the bonding, there's breakdown of what vehicles are approved and for what length of time.
So we're not approving all the vehicles you mentioned earlier.
Not in the first one.
I guess I don't know, the math isn't just adding, it isn't adding up.
The passenger vehicles is $326,000 bonds. That's for
right,
vehicles seating less than 10 persons.
okay,
So it's not including the senior buses.
Right.
And it includes like the police vehicles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Any vehicles that hold less than 10 persons.
The water department.
Understand.
vans.
Water,
Right, but when you get down to the next 3 items, I'm just looking ahead, those amounts are very small, and they certainly don't cover any of the large vehicle like the
well,
highway.
you have the $8,000 one.
That was a John
That
Deere
is
rate.
for the rake.
that's for the rake, okay. And the
Because of the lifespan of that, it's separate, it's
Understood,
listed separately.
but then you have an amount for 53,000, an amount for 26,000. As I was adding up the numbers from your original document, it's a very high number that exceeds what's on the agenda.
On number 7, the number is wrong.
Okay,
I didn't get to that yet.
okay.
Okay,
There's a typo there. It's supposed to be
That
1,726,000.
explains
that
Sounds
explains,
good.
okay, because I was having the same
1
issue that
million what?
Mr. DiPaolo
1
was.
million, I was going to get into that when we got there,
Okay,
but
thank you.
Sorry. I was
just to
looking-
clarify that, $1,726,000.
Okay,
I will second Mr. Saliano's motion.
Motion by Mr. Saliano, second by Mr. DiPaolo. All in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Next item is,
We didn't
what's that?
do a motion, Tom.
I said a motion by Mr. Saliano.
Yeah, I made a
second by
motion.
Ms. DiPaolo.
Oh, okay. Well, Nick was questioning, I didn't realize he seconded. Okay, thank you.
Next item, approval for equipment. Total is $8,000, and that is for
The
that
rake.
rake for recreation.
Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. DiPaolo,
Second.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
aye,
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is for $53,000 in bonds. Each item which shall cost more than $15,000. And the bonding on these will exceed 5 years.
I'm not following you here. Approval of equipment bonding for vehicle and equipment for construction maintenance purposes, $53,000.
Right.
Okay, and those items are, I know they were read from your list.
You had a copy of the list, didn't you?
Yeah, I have a copy of the list.
They're
I'm
grouped
still-
by the,
By categories, right?
By the
number of
categories.
No,
years
lifespan.
bonded.
By lifespan, by
Yeah.
lifespan.
Yeah.
That's the confusion. Grouped
The
by
bond
lifespan.
council breaks down the value and lifespan of each vehicle, and that's how they have to separate the bonding of each one.
I
of them.
understand that now. Okay, thank you.
It's like police
That's clear.
vehicles have the
Mhm.
shortest lifespan, even though we keep them for many years. Technically, according to bond council, you can only bond it for like 3 years.
Mhm.
But then we have cars that we've had for 20 years.
But a senior
But-
citizen van will have a longer lifespan, so
Yes.
it's bonded differently.
Mhm.
I understand. Okay, so with that, and number 6,
Yes,
I would move for approval for the $53,000 expenditure.
motion by Ms. Smoley,
Second.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is for $1,726,000. And the bonding on this will also exceed 5 years. Council will break up and we'll get a rundown of each piece of equipment
Mm-hmm.
and what the bonding, the length of time for the bonding for each of these items will be. We'll be getting that from bond council once. We have to approve this first before
I
they
understand. Mhm.
formally give us all the, we just had to give them the numbers first and how they apply it to the bonding. So this one is for $1,726,000. This includes all the other vehicles. You have a lot of the big equipment.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Saliano,
Second.
second by Mr. DiPaolo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is one of the vacation carryovers that was missed. Authorization for Marty Rogers to carry over 8 vacation days for 2017, which are being used in January.
Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. DiPaolo,
Second.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is renewal of our EMT services for January 2nd, 2018 through December 31st, 2018. That's StarNet. That's for our EMT services. The original, this is about $90,000 less than what was originally budgeted for due to the savings that they were able to appreciate through the year. So the total for this year's is $856,193.
Move for approval, please.
These items are divided up between Valhalla,
Mhm.
Pleasantville, Mount Pleasant West, Hawthorne, and Sleepy Hollow. These costs, those are divided amongst those districts. Motion by Ms. Smoley,
Second, and I would just say that this service has been an excellent service for our town, and I've heard nothing but rave reviews.
Yeah.
Not only our residents, town employees, but also the first responders that work with them.
Not only that, but there's been a significant decrease in response time. And this agency or this corporation has really answered all the questions that I've had. And I think the other members of the board, when we've had them in to discuss their services with us several times. So I think I would go ahead and move for approval on this, please.
I thought there was a motion.
There was.
We already.
No, I'm
You
sorry.
moved and then Nick
Yes,
seconded.
and then Nick's seconded.
Yeah.
I repeated myself. I apologize. Thank you.
Did I do that much?
Can do it again if you like. We have our receiver taxes report and investment report.
Investments at what?
I don't have it.
Oh, okay.
I think it's 0.85.
0.85.
0.85, I think.
Investment report is.
Big jump from last year.
For a couple of years.
All right, business from the floor. Anybody wish to address the board is welcome to do so.
Gracious, we're going nuts with this.
Hi, Ken Noonan, Valhalla. I have just a couple more questions about the budget. Last meeting, I asked about the extra payments that Mr. Smith and Mr. Nguyen are getting.
Mhm.
Not clear as to why Mr. Nguyen is getting this little extra payment. Can you tell me, is he doing something in addition to his regular duties
Yes.
as the water?
He's pretty much the town engineer is being split between the engineering department and the water and sewer department. Greg Wynn has picked up a lot more work on his end, helping to cover, because the town engineer cannot be full-time in both places. So Greg Wynn, as the assistant, is picking up a lot more of that time.
And then there were, on the salary increases, am I understanding correctly that all of management got a 2% increase and all non-union employees got a 2% increase? Is that correct?
Yes, everybody outside of the union got 2%.
Got 2%. Pat's shaking her head.
Well, not the part-timers.
Part-timers, no, that's different.
No,
No,
full-time.
it's different, full-time stuff.
Now, there were amendments to the tentative budget, and one of them being Park Superintendent Steve Mott with an addition of $5,000 to the annual salary.
Right.
But it didn't say what his salary was. Do you know what the percentage of the increase would be for Mr. Mott?
I didn't bring those numbers, I didn't know. So we're gonna talk about the budget. I didn't bring those numbers with me. I know it's just a $5,000 increase to his annual salary.
I'm guessing I think it was like maybe 2.5%, 3%.
2.5%,
It's my
3%.
recollection, but that's still going off my memory. So yeah,
Yeah, I don't
And
have,
would that be over and above the 2% that?
No. He did not get the 2% on top of that increase.
It's a 2%. A 2% increase that equals $5,000 means he's making a big amount of money. I mean, what?
No, he's not making that much. No. I don't have the numbers with me. I didn't bring the
I
budget
have it
with
in
me.
my,
What is there somewhere I can get that information?
The budget, yeah, that budget is online.
But the budget doesn't name him and a salary for him.
Well,
I don't believe it.
It does list
Title.
him as his title.
And then Angela Portanova, moving from a grade 6 to grade 7. Was there a salary increase involved with that
Yep.
upgrade?
Sure.
Do you know what that was? Because that.
I don't have the numbers now, but that was something with the union made a request for her to be switched because her duties exceeded what her job description was in the other group.
Mhm. And the overtime, all right, that I understand. So why was Mr. Mott given an addition other than the 2% that other management got?
Well, in evaluating his job, what he does, there was a recommendation by the Recreation Commission and members of the Recreation Department that he was over and above what he was being paid. So discussion had been had, what was a fair number. We look at other municipalities, you try to compare, and we found that this was below, pretty much still below what other municipalities pay for the same job, but we felt that was a fair increase.
So it was the Parks Commission that did the evaluation and came up with the.
It was the town board and the Recreation Parks Commission. It was not just one person making a recommendation.
And then finally, the highway department buys a lot of salt, but I don't ever see anything for sand. Do you still use sand?
Very little,
you usually mix it, don't they?
not often. Once in a while they do. I think recently they're getting some sand because at certain low temperatures, the salt really doesn't,
Yeah, that's
not
what,
as effective,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
put sand in.
yeah, I didn't see any sand going down on our streets, and it was very slippery, and I didn't know whether they had the sand or they didn't have the sand.
They do have
They
sand.
do have it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else like to address the board for a business from the floor? Move on to our town clerk's report.
Public hearing, improvements to Kensico Water District, $766,000 bond. Received town clerk supervisor and registrar's report for December 2017. Received building department report for December 2017. Planning board agenda, January 4th, 2018, and annual report for Historical Society for 2017.
I have to admit, Jim Maxwell took over the Historical Society, and he's done an amazing job so far, and even some of the little things he's come out with so far are very interesting. There's a lot of history, and Jim is working on bringing that out to the public more. So we're grateful for Jim taking that over and doing the job he's doing. And he has a lot of interested people working with him. So we'll move on to our council reports. Councilman Filiano.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My report is from the Controller's Office. The following claims are submitted for town board approval. Building Town Hall, Lock House Incorporated, $1,085. Special Consulting Services, Choice Words LLC, $3,150. Highway Garage, Kent Supply Company, Moreland Hose and Belling Corporation, $2,960.43. From Off-Street Parking, New York Department of Transportation, $2,800. From Safety Inspection, Software Consulting Associates Incorporated, $3,270. From Adult Programs, June Jam Lynn, $3,239.50. Youth Day Camps, Royal Coach Lines, Regal Cinemedia, $9,479.82. From Highway Machinery, Moreland Hose and Belting Corporation, $2,524.22. From Highway Snow Removal, Moreland Hose and Belting Corporation, $358.86. And Reed Systems Ltd., $2,184.90. From Capital Building Improvement, Alarm Specialists Incorporated, $38,305. From Special Refuge Accounts, REC, The Mines Press Incorporated, $1,200. From Valhalla Refuge District, The Mines Press Incorporated, $240. The Mount Pleasant Refuge District, again, The Mines Press Incorporated, $960. From the Mount Pleasant Consolidated Sewer District, Time Systems International, $716. And lastly, from the Joint Water District Fund, $1,074 for a grand total of $73,663.89. And all documents are at the Controller's Office for your review, and it's signed Maria Langlois, who's our Controller, and I respectfully ask the board for a motion of approval, please.
Motion by Mr. Saliano,
Second.
second by Ms. Smalley. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, I respectfully abstain.
Mr. DiPaolo will abstain.
Okay, thank you. Have a very good evening.
Thank you. Councilman Rubio could not be with us. Mr. DiPaolo has graciously offered to pick up the slack.
Thank you. Good evening to the public. On behalf of the police department, there are 3 items on the agenda this evening. The first is seeking authorization for purchase order number 18656, and that is to purchase a yearly maintenance agreement for our police records system. The amount is $33,747, and the vendor is Impact Computers. Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. DiPaolo,
Second.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
The second item is seeking authorization for purchase order number 18657, and that is to purchase 1 year of software support for our license plate reader system. The vendor is Celex ES, and the total is $995. The system's been proven time and time again to be very useful for our police department in investigating different criminal activity. I move for approval.
Motion by Mr. DiPaolo,
Second.
second by Ms. Smalley. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And the third item for the police department is seeking authorization for purchase order number 18658, and that is to continue in our 3-year agreement. This would be year 2, using the Nixle 360 community notification system. It's basically a text alert system that residents can subscribe to learn about different emergencies going on in town. The vendor is Everbridge Incorporated. The amount is $3,090. Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. DiPaolo,
Second.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And I believe, Nick, you put a reminder out there for people to sign up for that Nixle program.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilwoman Smolin.
Good evening. My report is from the Department of Parks and Recreation. There are 3 memo items this evening. The first memo, number 1, for the town board members, attached you will find the interagency agreement with Northeast Westchester Special Recreation. This agreement is for the provision of recreation programs and services to the developmentally disabled residents of the town of Mount Pleasant. The cost for these services in 2018 will be $19,278.46. This is based on the actual number of Mount Pleasant participants served during the year by Northeast. It is recommended by the Recreation and Parks Department that the town board approve the terms of this agreement for 2018. All supporting documents and the actual agreement will be on file in the superintendent's office here in the town hall. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Ms. Smoley,
Second.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. The second item is memo number 2. Recreation and Parks requests approval for the following permanent part-time employees effective December 9th, 2017. Shane Saunders for Ken Fisher Basketball, the adult basketball clinic at $10 an hour, and Sabrina Minifra for 10 Fisher Basketball, adult basketball clinic also at $10 an hour. These employees were added due to larger enrollment than expected. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Ms. Smoley,
Second.
second by Mr. DiPaolo. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And memo number 3 is approval to hire Daniel Smith and Fiorella Ucciconi as permanent.
Lucioni.
Okay, thank you, Mr. DiPaolo.
No problem.
He has him in school.
A little tricky.
I think he's got one up on me as our guidance counselor.
He's a teacher.
Anyway, I even spelt it out here. Okay, but thank you. Fiorella, I apologize for the mispronunciation, but we're asking to approve and hire both of these young people for part-time employees effective January 15th, 2018 at $75 a session. They'll be working in the after-school sports program. The program fee is $120. The instructor rate will be $75 a session. Move for approval, please.
Motion by Ms. Smoley,
So moved.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. That's my report for this evening.
Thank you. Councilman DiPaolo.
Thank you. On behalf of the Highway Department, there's one item on the agenda this evening, and that is seeking authorization for purchase order number 18588. And that is to purchase 400 tons of road salt from Atlantic Salt Incorporated. The amount is $27,680. Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. DiPaolo,
So moved.
second by Mr. Saliano. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Just a note on the controller's memo, there was an item in there, choice words. These are grant writers that the town decided to hire to assist in seeking out grants to help us offset costs throughout the different departments in town. We had a meeting yesterday with them, discussed all the items which we can potentially go after as far as grants. So it looks good that we could start working on getting some grant money coming to the town of Mount Pleasant. So that was a good investment. As far as our schedule of meetings, Tuesday, January 16th will be our work session at 7 p.m. Tuesday, January 23rd will be our business meeting at 8 p.m. If there be no further business from the board, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Saliano,
Second.
second by Mr. DiPaolo. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.